Life is a highway for Senators Director of Player Personnel Pierre Dorion. Every night a different city, every night a different rink. Last week I had the chance to travel on the road with the Senators' Chief Scout. We made stops in Rouyn-Noranda, Quebec, Val-d'Or, Quebec, Peterborough, Ontario, Guelph, Ontario twice, Owen Sound, Ontario, and we wrapped it up with a trip to Kitchener, Ontario.
Leave for 5 or 6 days, leave for 4 days, come back for 1 or 2 days, and then get back on the road. So just, it's just living life on the road.
Naturally, Dorion isn't the only one on the Senators Scouts making these trips. There's about 10 full-time guys who hit the road monthly to try to find the Erik Karlssons, the Daniel Alfredsons, and perhaps Robin Lehner, the goalie of the future.
I think through the course of the year we try and watch guys 4 or 5 times. Obviously when they're priority players or early picks in the draft, every scout will try to see maybe a few more times. In the first part of the season, it's important to identify them, see where they're at, and then through the course of the season, we try and see how much they can develop, and what we think they'll be at the end of the year.
Whether there's hockey or not in January, Dorion and the Senator Scouts will sit down at the club's offices at Scotiabank Place and come up with a list for the entry draft in June. But that list will change by the time the draft rolls around.
It changes. I wouldn't say it drastically changes, but there's a lot of changes that are made. Yeah. For the simple reason that, a lot of times we've projected one guy in January to be at a certain spot, and, he hasn't progressed, or we don't think we could have seen some things that are different about his game. So I think when it comes to, from January to June, there's a lot of factors that are always changing prospects.
It's never hard to find the Scouts in a junior building. Just look in the corners. Sometimes Dorion has to pick up tickets from the box office before he goes into the rink because it may be sold out. If he does, he always gets a seat in the corner. If he doesn't have an assigned seat, he sits in the corner. Why does he sit in the corner? Because he wants to see the whole ice. There's a lot of downtime on the highways, a lot of time spent by yourself alone at night listening to XM radio. We passed our time by listening to the World Series.
There's sacrifices, missing my family and everything, but for the most part, I really enjoy this.
Dorion did 2,400 kilometers, 6 cities in 7 days before dropping me off at my doorstep in Ottawa. You know what he was doing the next morning? Heading back to Toronto to do some more scouting. For the QMI Agency, I'm Bruce Garriock.